So the film story begins with a woman who is divorcing her husband because he didn't treat her well. He even tortured and beat her. After the divorce, Yushi thought her life would be perfect. But that was just her thinking. Her husband had other plans. He was a very vile person. He now wanted to take Yushi's daughter away from her and filed a lawsuit to do so. In the divorce, he claimed that Yushi was insane and unable to care for her daughter. As proof, he even presented Yushi's parents' divorce, explaining that Yushi had to live alone when she was a child, and this had a profound impact on her mental health. Now, to gain custody of her daughter, Yushi had to win the case and prove her mental stability in court. Yu used to work for a newspaper and was paid very little, and she had to support her daughter and herself on this salary. This was very difficult for her. Therefore, she moved into a building where the rent was very low. Looking at the condition of the building, we understand that the low rent is due to its old age and numerous defects. Its condition is also very poor. At the time, Yoshi ignores these things because all she needed right now was a rooftop apartment where she could live with her daughter. Therefore, she immediately agrees to move into the apartment and even pays a monthly rent. We see that the elevator is also equipped with CCTV, and the monitor attached to it is very old. The manager sees Yoshi going upstairs with her daughter, and he also notices a third girl with her. In reality, we were only shown Yu and her daughter leaving the elevator. And when we were shown the CCTV footage again, the third girl had disappeared. Yoshi's daughter goes to the terrace to play and finds a red bag, which she takes with her. She seemed to like it, but Yoshi explained to her that it's not a good idea to keep other people's things. So she now brings the bag down and gives it to the manager so that he can return it to its rightful owner. Days pass by while Abhine lives here, and one day, Yash notices that a black spot on their ceiling is growing larger, and water is dripping from it. She understands that there must be a leak in the upper flight, causing the water to come from their ceiling. When she goes to complain about it, the manager tells her that they'll have to live with so many things because the building is so old. She quietly returns to her flat and places a small tub under the leak. But Yoshi noticed that the tub always filled up too quickly. So she decided to go to the apartment upstairs and request them to fix her apartment's leak. When no one came out despite ringing the apartment bell for several minutes, Yoshi started back to her apartment. As she entered the elevator, she saw a little girl wearing a yellow raincoat in front of the apartment. She stopped the elevator and ran to the apartment, but the little girl was gone. One day, after cleaning, when she went downstairs to drop off the garbage, she noticed that the red bag her daughter had given her the day before was now in the dustbin. She had been ignoring everything to make her life as easy as possible, but with each passing day, her life was becoming more difficult. Her job had become more demanding. It was becoming increasingly difficult for her to find time for her daughter, and on top of that, she had started getting headaches lately. The pain was killing her. Even now, when she goes to get water to take her medicine, she finds that dirty water is now coming into her house. She complains about this, but as always, the manager takes no action on her complaint. She returns to her flat, and upon entering the elevator, finds that the elevator buttons on her floor have the same black marks as the ones she had seen everywhere else in her house. For the first time, she feels scared, but she ignores it all and continues on with her life. The next day, she is very late to the office. Due to a meeting, she couldn't make it to school to pick up her daughter. When she arrived, it was already late at night. The school was closed, and she couldn't find her daughter. She became extremely panicked, unsure of what to do. To make matters worse, she spotted a poster of a girl named Minshiku, who had disappeared years ago and has never been found. Reading this poster almost killed Yushi. Yushi began searching for her daughter even faster than before, and finally found her with a kind man who was trying to drop her off at her address, her home. Yushi brought her home, and this time, her daughter was extremely angry with her. So she went to the terrace, where she found the same red bag lying in the same place where she had found it. Goku loved this bag so much that he kept it, but Yushi explained to her again, "I've told you once not to take other people's things. Anyway, I saw this bag in the dustbin a couple of days ago, and I'll throw it away myself." Days pass, and we learn that Ikuko, Yushi's daughter, has become increasingly frightened. The reason is that she now sees the same girl Yushi first saw on the upper floor of their building, wearing a yellow raincoat and now carrying that red bag. Ikuko had seen this girl several times, and today, When Ikuko appears before her while playing, Ikuko becomes terrified and faints. Her mother is called to school for an emergency, and the teachers tell her that Ikuko has been very depressed and quiet for quite some time. She's also frightened and always draws a child wearing a yellow raincoat in her drawings. They heard about the yellow raincoat. Yushi quickly looks at the drawings and immediately recognizes that it was the same girl Yushi had seen several times in the building. An old teacher from his school approaches Yushi, looking even more worried than the previous one. He takes Yushi aside and explains that the girl Ikuko is sketching disappeared almost a year ago and has never been found. The last time she was seen, she was wearing a yellow raincoat and carrying a red bag. Hearing this, Yushi was terrified. If the girl disappeared a year ago and has never been found, how could Yushi and Ikuko see her outside? He takes Ikuko home and goes to sleep downstairs. When he wakes up, he finds Ikuko missing. He panics and checks the apartment. When he doesn't find Ikuko, he goes out and checks the corridor. Before she can tell anyone, she's worried that Echo might have followed the girl in the yellow raincoat that Yushi saw in the apartment upstairs. So without thinking, she heads upstairs. The apartment wasn't even locked. Opening the door, she found it flooded with water. All the lights were on. However, she finds her daughter there, but she's in a strange state. She's unconscious. Yushi quickly picks her daughter up, and just as she's about to leave, sees pictures of the same girl she's been seeing repeatedly. These pictures reveal that the girl used to live in this very apartment with her father. And now, given the current state of the flight, it's clear that something negative is definitely afoot. Terrified, Yushi quickly takes Coco downstairs and begins packing her things. She needs to leave this house immediately. But then her lawyer arrives and stops her from doing so. Frequently changing homes could weaken her case and strengthen her insane accusations. The lawyer also tells her that she needs a permanent address to prove to the court that she has a home for her daughter. Consequently, the lawyer, along with the building's caretaker, fixes the apartment's entire interior. Yue Aiko hasn't seen the girl in the yellow raincoat in a while. That's why Yue Aiko is even more satisfied with her decision to stay in this apartment. Just when Yue Aiko begins to feel that everything is about to return to normal, one day she finds the same red bag in her daughter's bag that she had dropped in the dustbin. Seeing this, she becomes frightened and she goes to her daughter and asks her where she got the bag and why she put it in hers. But Akiko replies, "I didn't pick it up or put it in my bag." As Yushi takes the bag out of her daughter's bag, she suddenly receives a voice, and inside this voice, she sees the bag falling into the water tank above. Through this voice, Yushi realizes that Minsei wants to show her something that's missing. Realizing this, she immediately decides to go to the terrace. Iko tells her, "I'll go with you, Mom." But Yushi refuses, locks herself in the house, and immediately goes to the terrace. She goes to the water tank where she saw the red bag fall. As soon as she touches it, she receives another voice, in which she sees the same girl climbing up the water tank. Through this voice, she also learns that Minsei's mother was not there. She lived alone with her father, and when he went to work, there was no one to care for her. One day, while playing, she went near the water tank and eventually fell into it, killing herself. Yushi realized that the child's soul was actually jealous of her and Ikoku, as she didn't have a mother and didn't like Ikoku taking care of her. Yushi also realized that if the child didn't like this, she would definitely try to harm them. Thinking this, she quickly returned to her flight and found her daughter unconscious. In a flashback, we are shown that immediately after Yushi left, her daughter noticed that the bathtub tap was open. As she entered the bathtub suddenly filled to the brim. As Ikoku tried to turn it off, the water suddenly turned black, and two terrifying black hands emerged from it, drowning her. It was the hands of a child. It was clear that these were the hands of Manshiko, who wanted to kill her. She quickly picks up her daughter and gets out of here. She gets into the elevator and turns it on. Suddenly, she notices that the elevator is also filling with water, but she doesn't want to dwell on it. She wants the elevator to start moving immediately. But then suddenly, she sees her daughter standing near the apartment. When she looks in her lap, she realizes that it wasn't her daughter at the time, but Saul. She suddenly attacks her and begins to beat her. Seeing this, Yoshi realizes that this child will never let her go. And now, to keep her daughter alive, Yoshi decides to sacrifice herself and starts driving the elevator upwards, towards Misko's apartment. Seeing Iku go up, she runs up the stairs. As she stands in front of the elevator, a torrent of water falls on her as it opens, and she sees no one inside. It's clear that Minasi has taken her mother away. Ikuko is now alone. Her mother sacrificed herself to save her. The scene cuts to a time many years later. We see a grown-up Ikuko living with her father, but despite living a good life with her father, she misses her mother deeply. Today was actually the day her mother disappeared. She is deeply saddened. In this sadness, she decides to go to her old building. She goes to the flat where she used to live with her mother. No one lived in this flat now, and it had become a ruin. She then decides to go to the flat above it, which was the main Ikuko apartment. When she opens the door to the apartment and enters, she's astonished. No one had lived there before, but it was incredibly clean. Everything was so organized as if someone had lived there. These things frightened her, but suddenly her mother's spirit appeared before her. Seeing this, Ikuko is utterly astonished. Was her mother still in this world? Yushi replies, "Yes, I was in this world. I was around you, taking care of you. Even though you didn't know I was around, I kept an eye on everything you did. And today I'm proud of you for all the good you do." Hearing all this from her mother, Ikuko became even more emotional. She asked her mother, "Can't I live with you in this apartment?" Yushi's spirit immediately refused, knowing that she was. Minshiko's soul is negative, and she will never tolerate Ikoku, having previously sacrificed her life to save Ikoku. Suddenly, Ikoku feels as if someone is standing behind her. She turns back and sees Minshiko's soul. Frightened, she looks forward and finds her mother's soul gone. She realizes that Minshiko has taken her mother's soul. She sits there alone for a while, then leaves the building and moves on. The movie ends with this scene.